101.3 TBS EFM Primetime.
And here in the studio with the Seoul City News, Jessica Lee. Jessica, good evening.
Good evening, Henry.
We are going to be talking about what many people have been concerned about right now. The Ebola virus has spread to various nations in Western Africa. It's moving faster than the efforts to control the disease. And the World Health Organization published the current outbreaks. It's reached 1,300 people, 729 dead so far since the case emerged in March.
That's right, and it's time for Korea to take countermeasures and possible outbreaks in Korea. So the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, called KCDC, have urged the people to refrain from traveling to affected areas. It also requested to the Foreign Ministry to delay the re-entry of those who travel to the regions and experiencing fevers, chills, or vomiting.
Yeah, and a brief background once again on the Ebola virus. How serious is this outbreak, and is there any cure?
The Ebola virus is highly infectious and usually fatal. The disease is only transmitted through the direct contact with the infected fluids such as urine, blood, and sweat. And only one fact that made me at least relieved is it doesn't transmit it through the air.
Mm-hmm.
It begins with the flu-like symptoms and ends in a severe internal bleeding. The survival rate of infected people is very low. Somewhere between 60% to 90% of people who become infected die.
Yeah, that is a very difficult disease to try to deal with. What countermeasures against the virus has been implemented here other than warnings?
KCDC has formed a team to closely monitor international outbreak status and established a guideline for virus backtracking investigation in case of possible domestic outbreak. At Incheon International Airport, quarantine inspection of passengers arriving have been enhanced.
Now, I mentioned this before. There's been some controversy. Some missionary groups do want to go there. Other people may be planning to travel to the West Africa region. Simply just don't go. I mean, if the foreign ministry is saying don't go, you shouldn't go. But maybe some overall advice, Jessica. At the summer vacation, a lot of people do go overseas. Generally speaking, what precautions should they have?
There are some precautions suggested by KCDC. Before you travel, bring medicine for diarrhea or fever and bring a mosquito spray with you. Don't forget to get the vaccination to prevent yellow fever, typhoid fever, and malaria at least 2 weeks prior to your departure. While you're traveling the countries, keeping your hands sanitized is a basic and very essential precaution, as well as drinking boiling water. After you travel and you get home, if you discover any symptoms like diarrhea or fever, you've got to report to the national quarantine and visit the nearest medical center. And make sure the malaria vaccine should be taken even after you get home. For more information, visit travelinfo.cdc.go.kr, or you can simply download the application from KCDC.
All right, great. Some very commonsensical tips there. Let's talk about Seoul. Once again, the theme is summer. Seoul, of course, just like any other major city, has some traffic problems, and the city did put a lot of effort to try to solve this. They recommend people use public transportation. It hasn't shown really great results. There's been a different approach to promoting public transportation?
Yes, Seoul's first public transportation district is the answer to your question. Seoul City just announced the result of managing Sinchonro, which is one of the busiest area, as its first public transportation district for the last 6 months. The result is that since this special district was set, more people visited Sinchon and less accident has happened. Especially the satisfaction of these visitors has tremendously increased by more than 50%.
That sounds good. If people are more satisfied by 50%, where exactly is the area and how is this district or zone managed?
Since January 6th of 2014, Seoul City has named a section of Sinchonno all the way to the entrance of Yonsei University as a public transportation-only district. As a result, it brought less traffic, wider walkways, and safer crossings for people.
Yeah, that is good news. You did. Let's talk about this 50% statistic about people being more satisfied or enjoying it more. What about the actual statistics and the values show about what the area has enhanced?
Since operating this district, traffic accidents have decreased by 34.5%, including the numbers from the nearby streets. In 2013, there were 11 accidents occurred in this area, but since January of 2014, only 5 accidents were reported, and that's 54.5 less than a year before. Prior to this district, there were some concerns regarding possible increase of accidents involving pedestrians since more people would be jaywalking. However, lower speed limit and less traffic on the road actually resulted less accidents.
All right. And any other changes because of this project?
Well, good things don't stop here. Since there are more foot traffic of people, small business near this area have been booming, showing 10.6% of the increase in the number of sales and 4.2% of increase in sales. Seoul City has planned to share this experience so that this type of area may expand to different part of the Seoul. Also, with the opinions of residents and business owners, City is reviewing an idea of making this Sinchon area to be only pedestrian-only sections.
All right. We got time for one more story, I believe, Jessica. You reported last week a lot of summer activities happening. Public pools, camping sites have been introduced. You got a story of another, I suppose, great spot where you can almost feel like you're in Mother Nature, in the midst of Mother Nature.
The Seoul City selected 170 spots for summer forest streets where trees are densely standing and create a nice shadow with a good breeze. The streets are total 183 kilometers and consist of 63 parks, 80 sidewalks, and 17 river and stream side paths, and 9 greenbelt areas, and they are introduced by different themes.
Tell us more about some of these themes and their locations.
The first theme is a forest street with the featured trees, where planted with the unique and rare kinds of trees such as dawn redwood and platypus. The second place is a forest with the night view. For example, Namsan Tower or Bugak Skyway are in this category. Third one is a forest with the historic and culture. The street starting from Hyojaro of Gyeongbokgung Palace, that's the right thing for this. And the last place is a forest with the water, where have fountains and pond streams around the forest so that the families can have a day trip with the kids.
Yeah, you normally just think of Seoul Forest as the forest of Seoul, but there are a lot of different places. I think there's something for everybody. You can try out one of these 170 forest streets in and around Seoul. I think a lot of people, though, Jessica, would be wondering, I mean, if that's 170, that's a lot to choose from where they can find it. How do you go about getting information regarding the locations? Do they have a website?
They do have a website, but there's an easier way.
Okay.
Search for the official application through your smartphones called Smart Seoul app. It also lets you share the information with the friends through your SNS.
Yeah, I mean, forests are great. There are good places to, I suppose, have a picnic or take a nice leisurely stroll, especially sometimes if the air quality is not that good. It is always good to be amidst a lot of trees. So very good indeed. Jessica, thank you very much for the reporting. We will talk to you again tomorrow.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
That was Jessica with the Seoul City News. We are going to take a short break. When we come back in the second hour, some major economic developments rattling some global investors. Argentina potentially sliding into a default for the second time in 13 years. What does this all mean? What are some of the issues and controversies involved with it? And ultimately, what effect, if any, will it have here in Korea? Stay tuned for that. You're listening to Primetime.